Pantry in a motorhome is a really great thing until it starts working against you. Now, our 2015 Newmar Dutch Star came with a nice pantry. When you're driving, occasionally you'll take a tight turn and the drawers have nothing to hold them, so they start sliding out. You've got the door out here that tries to hold them, but it'll swing open. And we recently had this happen, and it actually broke the slides on the drawer as it came out. I had to pull over to the side of the road and try and stash things till we got on the trip. And somebody suggested using the push to lock drawers. And rather than being able to slide out like this one easily, they won't slide out, but you push them in to unlock them and push them back to lock them. So they're not inconvenient to use like a locking drawer, or having to put a lock on this door, or extra catches to make it harder to pull open. But it does take a little bit of work to change these, and I'm going to show you today what I did. I'll put links for the drawer slides in the description of the video so you can see what I used. The first step to changing these out is removing the drawers, of course. So just like all of these, there's a little tiny lever on each side of these that you pull one side up and one side down, and then the drawer will slide right out. Once the drawer is out, now you can remove the slides. Now, Newmar uses a peg system, so these press into some pre-drilled holes. So it's just kind of wiggling it back and forth and pulling it out. Some might be screwed in permanently to the walls, and you just move this inner piece of the track till you see the screw heads, and you can remove them that way. Okay, so we got everything out. Okay, I'm going to start with removing the inner rails that are on the drawer and replacing them with the new ones. Now here's the drawer slides that I bought. And they come with some screws that I may or may not have to use. Alright, now you can see how this drawer mechanism works. We push in to lock it, and we push out and it unlocks. Now this, just like the other set, this inner rail has a small lever here. Flip it, and that pulls that guy out. Now there is no right or left side on these, so you don't have to worry about keeping them straight or getting them mixed up. Alright, we're going to set these aside for a few minutes and work on these. Now, if I had one knock about this set that I bought, it's got this plastic tab on the end, which is part of how it works. If you drop this, that will break, and it's junk. Fortunately, I bought a pack of 5 sets, and I only need 4, so I've still got 1 spare left. Now, I have done 2 shelves already, and the first one took quite a while to figure out the nuances of how I wanted to adjust it, and holes that I had to drill, and things like that. So your first drawer will take an hour or 2 to figure out, and after you've got it figured out, this is about 15 minutes per drawer. Again, be careful with these guys, don't drop them. So, first thing we're going to do is replace this side rail and put this one on here. And I learned by trial and error that I really need to sit it back here, so not all of my holes are going to line up. Done with that. Now my new one, I learned if I line it up here where the old one used to stick out about an inch, actually push this back. I've got one hole that will line up, and I can put a screw in that. I'm using this flat surface here to make sure that my rail is flat with the bottom of the drawer. Alright, now every other screw I put in here is going to be a new one, but they come in quite easily. By new one, I mean every other screw, these other 3 screws, I'll screw them in just so there isn't a hole. Probably don't care, so they won't be the video. Okay, I'm going to turn it around to do the other side. Might ask why I'm not using power tools. Well, my doctor says I need to get some exercise. Okay, so the drawer now is ready to install back into the new rails. Okay, here's the old rails. In the back of the shelves is this bracket. You may or may not have something like this, but things just kind of squeeze in there. Okay, so that's out of the way. All right. Newmar uses these pegs, which are about 5/16 inch diameter, to slide into the pre-drilled holes on their rack to make this system adjustable. So we need to remove these pegs from these rails and move them to the new rails. So I'm using a pair of vice grips to hold on to this barrel. Rubber's head. Save that hardware. And done with that. Now on the very first drawer I took apart, when I pulled one of these out, this thing fell apart in my hands. It's just a plastic sleeve. I couldn't even figure out what to call them. I sought advice, and nobody else knew what to call them either. And I couldn't find an exact replacement. If you happen to find one, I'd appreciate a message on that. What I did find on Amazon were these. It was only $5 or $6 for a bag of 25. And rather than 5/16 in diameter, they're 1/4 inch in diameter and about twice as long. I could make it work by cutting the end off, and it's a little bit sloppy in that hole, but it really does not affect the function. So if you break one of these and can't find a replacement, I'll put a link to these, and that's a backup plan. Now, something else that I found was that the holes do not line up perfectly. I took apart the first rail that I had so that I can use it as a template to mark and drill this. And by the holes not lining up, if I put these pegs on here, and I don't know if you can see that in black on black. It ends up being about 1/4 inch out of alignment with the pre-drilled holes that are in my cabinet. So I need to drill a new hole on one end. And you may or may not have to do this on yours. So I'm using a bit here to hold this in alignment. And once I get that in place, I'll hold it and scribe where that hole needs to be. Move over and do the same on this next one. And this is the stuff that took a while to figure out when I did the first one. Use a spring-loaded center punch. I'm going to drill these out. So first, make sure that the is not clear before you go through. Probably wouldn't hurt anything. Alright, hold the drill. Alright. Now we'll mount those pegs in the back on the new rails. Alright, so now our rail has got the 2 pegs ready for mounting, and we'll do the same on the other. Okay, the last thing we've got to do here before we put this in is put these rails back in here in this end bracket. So they just kind of press into place. When it starts to get a little bit awkward. Okay, with everything put together, we're ready to reinstall the drawer. You probably aren't going to be able to see exactly what I do. Just kind of pop into place. Okay, ready for the drawer. Okay, we just slide the drawer in here. So we locks into place. I push and it unlocks. It's that easy. Thank you for watching my video. I hope this helps you out. And as always, I'm looking for new subscribers. Thank you. Now, one really important step that I overlooked here was you take this drawer out and it's filled with carefully organized items. Make sure that you unload them in a manner that's going to let you put them back in exactly the same way, or you will not earn the brownie points for this job you're doing.